To move the motion, and I'll then call the Minister to respond. Will not be an opportunity for a member in charge to wind up, as is the convention for a 30-minute debate. Order, order. Jodie Goslin to move the motion.
I beg to move that this House has considered supported internships. It is an honour to serve under your chairship today. Yesterday we heard some dreadful statistics about the stifling of ambition of people with additional needs and those who would choose to work but who face too many barriers and too many limited opportunities. The most striking statistic that I heard yesterday was that only 1% of those that have health issues that have claimed limited capacity to work benefits actually return to work. I know people with significant disabilities who have thrived in a truly exceptionally inclusive businesses like the King's Award-winning Nuneaton Signs. Not only one of the biggest road sign manufacturers in the country, but boasts an incredible 70% disabled workforce, including those with learning difficulties. We know that as many as 86% of those with learning difficulties who are not in work would like to be. But workplaces need to make the adjustments our young people need, and work needs to be ready. We must break down these barriers. Supported internships are a way to remove these barriers, both for those wishing to enter the workforce and for businesses wishing to provide a more inclusive employment offer. Previously, the Department of Education has recognised the value of supported internships, providing grants for local authorities and partner organisations to double the number of internships between 2020 and 2025 under the Internship Work Consortium. Supported internships work by meeting 4 key principles. I'll give one.
First of all, can I commend the Honourable Lady for bringing this forward, and quite clearly, Mr. Chairman, the Honourable Lady has a heart for her people and a heart for the young people as well, and I can commend her for that. And thanks for getting here in time. I'm not sure how fast she run, but well done. Does the Honourable Lady not agree that supported internships provide not simply confidence for our young people, but valuable assistance for businesses? And does the Honourable Lady agree that perhaps more businesses need to be aware of the potential that exists for recruiting skilled permanent staff through a different avenue and a different opportunity for them as well?
I thank you for your intervention, and note that only 23% of businesses have applied for adjustments to accommodate disabled people to enter the workforce, so absolutely crucial and a really good supported way in. The supported internship programme supports 4 key principles. The first is that the majority of the intern's time is spent with the employers at their premises in a work placement, allowing structured introductions to the work environment. The second is that the intern follows a personalised study curriculum alongside their time at the employer, including key skills like maths and English, and this creates a bespoke package to support and enable young people to progress into paid employment. The third provides a job coach who are central to the study programmes and support the young people to access training in line with the national occupational standards of supported employments. Alongside this, they provide crucial support for the employer to make necessary adjustments and reflect on their inclusivity practices.
Will my honourable friend give way?
On that point, absolutely.
I'd like to thank my... Thank you. I'd like to thank my honourable friend and neighbour for bringing this debate forward today. Several of my constituents with special educational needs are taking part in the supported internship programme at George Eliot Hospital in her constituency. And I'm delighted that they've been able to take up this opportunity to learn important skills and be able to engage in independent work. I was really glad to hear that between 50 and 75% of those people who undertake the internships get full employment afterwards. Does my honourable friend agree with me that we should continue to support these internships to deliver opportunities for students with SEND needs across the West Midlands? And could the Minister highlight these excellent programmes, particularly to the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions?
Thank you.
Short. It's not meant to be speeches. Jodie Goslin.
Thank you. And thank you for your intervention. It's absolutely the crucial aspect is enabling people into good, well-paid jobs. The final principle of supported internships is for young people to gain paid employment that fits not only their passions but their long-term career goals, whilst providing the flexibility to overcome barriers. The supported internships have provided demonstrable evidence with a compassionate scaffolding so that the woeful 5% of people with an EHCP who currently enter the workforce can be vastly improved to 60% through the delivery of the 4 key principles that I've just stated. Absolutely.
Thank you for giving way. I recently visited Asda in Spondon in my constituency, where there is a supported internship called Project Search underway. It's delivered with the YMCA and Direct Business Education Partnership. It's a fantastic scheme, and when I met those young people, it was clear that the initiative had transformed their lives, and in some cases they'd struggled to get employment elsewhere. So can I encourage you to welcome that?
Absolutely, and coming later, we were inspired by a visit to Asda with its supported interns. The scheme builds on the applicant's interests, passions and provides flexibility for different types of employment opportunities to build skills in a range of sectors, such as in the NHS, Asda, Amazon, Goldman Sachs.
Would my honourable friend give way on that, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I thank my honourable friend for giving way. There's a lot of talk about Asda, and I'd also like to pay tribute to Asda in Tunstall in my constituency, Stoke-on-Trent North and Kidsgrove, who do an excellent supported internship programme, helping young people to step up into employment. Would my honourable friend agree with me that, as outlined in the Green Paper yesterday, we must ensure access to work is strengthened for adults by raising awareness of the scheme and clearing the backlog?
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention and absolutely agree that we do need to move that backlog and get more people into good paid employment with the skills that they need to become independent. Paragraph 59 of the Pathways to Work clearly demonstrates an ambition to change working practices to support employers to make workplace accessible and inclusive. The Green Paper discusses the scarring effect of youth unemployment and activity. Delayed entry into the workforce is not only costly, but has a negative impact on the individuals, damaging their long-term mental and physical health. The Youth Guarantee Scheme is also set to bring about monumental change, a commitment to offer every young person a guaranteed place of employment, continued education, an apprenticeship or training scheme within 4 months of leaving formal education. If we are to achieve such clear ambitions, then work and the support of young people, especially those with SEND, needs to adapt rapidly.
Will my honourable friend give way? I thank my honourable friend for bringing this important debate. I've seen how supported internships programmes at City of Wolverhampton College and Adult Education Wolverhampton have made a real difference for 16 to 24-year-olds with EHCPs. But with 1 in 8 young people not in education, employment or training, would my honourable friend agree with me that widening participation to NEET would be one further way to support more young people into work?
Okay. I thank my honourable friend for their important intervention and completely agree with success rates moving from 5% up to a dramatic 60% that this model could be applied more widely to the 1 million NEETs, or for people re-entering the workforce or for people retraining. In January, I had the pleasure of meeting 5 of our supported interns at Nuneaton's branch of Asda, as well as their job coaches from the brilliant North Warwickshire and South Leicester College. The exciting thing about the supported interns was that the interns learn by doing. They have a chance to develop new professional and personal skills whilst working alongside employees in a real employment setting. The combination of meaningful experiences of the world of work alongside a study programme creates great opportunities for interns to develop marketable skills in preparation for paid work, providing access to in-work qualifications such as health and hygiene certificates. Paid employment, as we know, brings young people financial independence as well as well-being, building confidence, self-esteem and the opportunities of new gained friendships, and to improve and maintain their health and well-being. There are also wider benefits to our community, including broader economic growth and promoting diversity and inclusion in all of our workspaces. The benefits of interns taking part in these schemes are numerous. Ethan, one of the students I met at ASDA, told me that the internship had helped with his anxiety and talking to new people, both staff and customers. Adrian, also on the scheme, said that he finds it much easier to talk to people and, importantly, feels able to approach people for help, not only when he's in the placement, but as part of his normal everyday life. The structured environment, along the ongoing support of the interns, allows them to acquire and practice essential organisational skills that they will need to rejoin the workforce. Leo told me that his timekeeping and his attendance had improved since he started at ASDA. He was happier since he'd started, a common outcome reported by the thousands of students on the scheme. And also a shared outcome by parents of interns, parents who we know have worked incredibly hard to fight for their children's EHCPs through a tricky system, just to ensure that their children had access to a suitable education and that their needs were met. Supported internships gives parents that vital break from caring for time to themselves and to do the millions of other things that we know parents have to do, while still playing a supportive role and having a say in their children's future. Social Value Lab's report in 2013 saw parents of interns report an increasing peace of mind that their child was better prepared for the future and found it easier to handle change. They were more resilient in the workforce. Supported interns were also found to improve family relationships as a whole, happier children and happier parents. The same report demonstrated that the FND Project Search had reported a supported internship provider creates considerable social value of £3.80 for every pound spent in the scheme. But for me, the most meaningful outcome was that the interns reported having a sense of purpose. This speaks to the broken system that we heard about yesterday, wherein disabled people are written off, and those that want to seek employment are locked out of contributing to the world of work. Importantly, ASDA as a provider also saw huge benefits in hosting the interns. The staff culture on the shop floor embraced and welcomed the interns, and it made the management re-evaluate their accessibility of their hiring process, which is an insurmountable barrier to most people with disabilities trying to enter employment. And how on earth can we get people working if the first step to employment is an insurmountable barrier? With yesterday's Pathways to Work announcement and this government's aim to get people working, the timing of this debate could not be more pertinent. We all know that young people want to work, want independence, but some require specialist support to transition into employment. Supported interns are the key to achieving this. They have been proven to succeed in getting young people back into employment. Will the Department of Education commit to continue investing in the supported internship programmes and getting people back to work? And will the Minister update a decision to extend the Interns Work Consortium? The profound success of these internships is a reason enough to extend the criteria to these young people without an EHCP and those with mental health conditions and those struggling with persistent absenteeism from school. Will the Minister commit to boosting supported internships further and widening the criteria for interns? We talk regularly and passionately about the damage done and the inherited SEND crisis, but a key issue with this crisis is the lack of focus on outcomes and transitions into adulthood. As an early years SEND specialist, I have first-hand importance of the importance of early intervention, but I recognise that we can't write off those that the system has already failed and need to support young disabled people as they leave school. For too many people with SEND, the support runs out after they graduate the classroom. We cannot simply prioritise educational provision without considering the educational employment outcomes. Is the Department of Education working closely with the Department for Work and Pensions to ensure that these outcomes are considered when addressing the whole SEND crisis? After seeing the success of the supported internships during my ASDA visit, I will be supporting more interns at our local NHS hospital near these experiences and would welcome the Minister to join. I believe the email is in your inbox. And finally, it is my honour to host the first ever Parliament of Young People with SEND on Monday at National Supported Internship Day. 70 young people will have taken part in the Supported Internship project, who will be coming to Westminster to discuss what matters to them. I hope this will mark a historic step of greater inclusion, representation and advocacy for some of the most marginalised voices in our society, and I welcome any or all interested colleagues to attend the Parliament to promote inclusivity and policy making. I'd like to thank the Minister for her time listening to me today, and thanks to all of those who came along to listen and contributed. Thank you.
The question is that this House has considered supported internship provision. Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to serve under you as Chair. And I also congratulate the member for Nuneaton for securing this debate on this incredibly important topic. And it is clear from her speech and from the work that she does that she has a very keen interest in supporting children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, and particularly in this case supported internships. And it's also very clear from the other contributions made today that those passions are very much shared. They really are excellent study programmes that provide 16 to 24-year-olds with education, health and care plans with those skills that they need to transition to paid employment. Over the last couple of months, events have been held in each region to celebrate progress made on supported internships in local communities after 3 years of investment from government. And a few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of attending one myself and speaking to interns, parents and carers at an event celebrating success in London. And at this event, I met Rayhan, whose work placement with Transport for London and whose confidence had grown so hugely thanks to the supported internship programme. And I met and spoke to so many of the young people at that event. It was very powerful, and the young people were very proud, but indeed the parents who were with them were even prouder. And it was so wonderful to see the good practice and to see that being shared around the country as well. So looking ahead to 1 week tomorrow, the 3rd National Supported Internship Day will be taking place on the 27th of March, with more events scheduled across the country, including a youth parliament and webinars to raise awareness of supported internships with young people, with their families and their employers. And I know many interns, education providers and employers will also be planning local events to show the incredible achievements and the capabilities of young people on these programmes. And to shine a light, literally, even further, Harry Georgiou, a former intern who works at DFN Project Search and is CEO of the charity 6% and Rising, has led the drive to have national monuments like the University of Derby and the Northern Spire Bridge, not far from my constituency, lit up in orange to celebrate supported internships on National Supported Internships Day. What a fantastic way to mark the day. And I know how important it is to make sure young people with special educational needs and disabilities are prepared for adulthood and employment. In my own city, Newcastle City Learning have a partnership with Northumbria University and Sodexo, where young people complete work placements ranging from roles in ground maintenance to sports centres. There are also places in hospitals in Newcastle, as the Honourable lady mentioned, in her area too, run by Project Choice. And these opportunities really do provide young people with practical experience, with valuable skills that help them secure paid employment. And it's so good to witness all the innovative approaches that have been taken, including in my own area, to champion the inclusive practice that we need to see everywhere. The Department for Education have invested up to £18 million since 2022 to build capacity in supported internships, to support more young people with education, health and care plans, gain the skills to transition into employment. The Internships Work Consortium, made up of the National Development Team for Inclusion, the British Association for Supported Employment and DFN Project Search, which I mentioned earlier, have been delivering this investment programme, and they've worked closely with local authorities to establish SEND employment forums focused on improving local supported internship provision. They've been rolling out the quality framework and facilitated peer reviews. They've trained over 760 job coaches to provide high quality support to interns while they're on their work placements, and they've recruited almost 800 employer ambassadors who advocate for establishing supported internships in businesses. And the data from local authorities shows that we are on track to reach our aim of doubling the number of supported internships to 4,500 when the funding ends at the end of this month, which is a great achievement and will provide real employment opportunities for many people. And we know that high quality programmes do achieve employment outcomes because 60 to 70% of the cohorts go on to employment, and that's why the investment has also been focused on improving the quality and the consistency of these offers across the country. The indicative data we have from local authorities shows that last year over 1,500 young people secured paid employment following their internship, and the interim report from the evaluation of the programme also shows progress, showing the majority of supported internship providers reported offering more supported internships and an improvement in the quality of the intern placements that they had with employers. And although it is from quite a small sample, nearly half of the interns surveyed had jobs 6 months after finishing their internship, with 3/4 of these working more than 16 hours a week, which is fantastic news for them. We know that the right preparation and support is essential, and with it, the overwhelming majority of young people with special educational needs and disabilities are capable of sustained paid employment, but not enough people are getting the support they need. To build on the investment, the department has been running a pilot of 12 local authorities to test the supported internships model with young people with learning difficulties and disabilities, those who are furthest from the labour market, but they don't have education, health and care plans, and to see whether that can be an effective way of supporting them into employment also. Indicative data from the Internships Work Consortium shows that across this year and last, around 240 young people have enrolled on non-EHCP pilot programmes, with at least 60 gaining employment last year, showing there really is a demand for this kind of pathway, and it can lead to good outcomes. So the funding, which I know the Honourable Lady is keen to know about, funding for internships and the pilot for interns without education, health and care plans, that's committed up to March 2025. It was designed as a 3-year investment to build capacity in the system, to deliver more high-quality supported internships across the country. We have seen huge progress towards achieving those aims, thanks to the hard work of internships work and the commitment that we've seen from local authorities, from education providers, job coaches, employers, and of course the interns themselves. The department received a settlement for the year 25-26, the financial year, at the autumn budget, and we're still working through with the Secretary of State as to how we'll allocate budgets for specific programmes, and we are hoping that this process will be completed soon, but unfortunately I don't have any further information now on budgets for next year. But it is fantastic to hear that despite the financial pressures that we know many local areas are facing, some are planning to continue their SEND employment forums, and they value the important work that is taking place in supporting interns. We know that a challenge raised by many stakeholders who are involved in delivering supported internships is the delays that interns can face when they're claiming DWP's access to work funding, which can fund the in-work support needs of the interns during their work placement. Demand for access to work has been growing, and the personalised nature of the scheme means that it can take longer to identify the specific needs of a customer. Several measures have already been put in place, including streamlining delivery processes, recruiting additional staff, and DWP have also been taking steps to modernise the access to work customer journey, with all core parts of the scheme fully digital from April 2024. Access to Work has a dedicated supported internship team in the Department for Work and Pensions who manage all of the intern applications, and that has now provided a central point of contact and direct route for applications. So to enable supported interns to have confidence that support will be in place ahead of starting their internship, supported interns can submit an access to work application up to 6 months before they start their work placement. And despite DWP having a dedicated team within Access to Work to process the supported intern applications, delays are still occurring due to the high demand for Access to Work funding. So to make it easier for interns to apply, DWP are working to reduce the administrative burden and paperwork for learning providers. Work is underway to develop a claims process where learning providers can claim Access to Work funding for multiple interns using one claim form. And they're also working to improve the supported intern application process and support plan to reduce the need for additional contacts. And my department is working closely with DWP on these issues also. Every child and young person, regardless of their individual needs, deserves the opportunity to thrive, to succeed and to achieve. However, we are aware that there are challenges in the SEND system, and the government has made a very clear commitment to addressing these. We're prioritising early intervention and inclusive provision in mainstream settings, as we know that early intervention prevents unmet needs from escalating and supports children and young people to achieve their goals and still be alongside their peers. We are committed to working with the sector to ensure that the approach is fully planned, delivered in partnership, and we've already begun the work by appointing a strategic advisor on SEND to engage with sector leaders, practitioners, children and families. We've established an expert advisory group on inclusion to improve the mainstream education outcomes and experience for children with SEND. And we're setting up a neurodivergence task and finish group to provide a shared understanding of what provision and support in mainstream educational settings should look like for neurodivergent children and young people within an inclusive system. But we recognise these are complex issues, and we need a very considered approach to deliver the change that we want to see, but in a sustainable way that will really deliver the outcomes that we want to see for young people. So I want to thank my honourable friend again for bringing this matter forward, to all who have contributed to the debate today. Ensuring there are high-quality pathways to employment for young people with special educational needs and disabilities is an issue I know we all care passionately about. And I've seen firsthand the great work done by employers, by local authorities and education providers to break down the barriers for young people with additional needs. Supported internships are a key part of the government's mission to ensure that all young people are supported to achieve the skills they need to be successful in the workplace, regardless of their background. We have made a very clear commitment to address the challenges raised today, to support all children and young people to achieve and thrive, and to improve the wider SEND system, and I am determined that progress will be made. So I want to conclude by thanking all those working in education and in employment in the interests of children and young people with SEND across the country. I know that they share the desire, and we share a determination to work with them to deliver the very best for all of our children and young people, including those with SEND.
The question is that this House has considered supported internship provision. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. And of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.